You ever heard of the Club of Rome? Well, let's talk about the Club of Rome. The Club of Rome is an organization that identified 10 regions of the world. You heard about the New World Order? The plan is to have borderless nations and have 10 individual regions that could be ruled by 10 individual kings. That's already what they're striving to do. Understand this, when Antichrist does come into power and he's got 42 months, he doesn't have time to put all this into play. This is why this stuff, the United Nations, all this stuff is being built up now. So that when he walks in, when it's his time, it's all set up for him. All he has to do is put the 10 guys in control. It's all been mapped out. This first came out, you can see there's the first global revelation. It was all spelled out in here from the Club of Rome. It says in 1993, the club published the first global revelation. According to this book, divided nations require common enemies to unite them. Divided nations require common enemies to unite them, either a real one or else one invented for that purpose. How does the Antichrist get all the nations to assemble themselves at Armageddon to fight Jesus? Because he makes him a common enemy. To unite the people of the world, you need a common enemy. That's the plan. You see, the plan was spelled out in 1993. Either a real enemy, or one invented for the purpose. Because of the sudden absence of traditional enemies, new enemies must be identified. After all, as the Club of Rome states in their book, The Cosmos Journal, humans only truly unite when faced with a powerful external enemy. That's the plan. That's how the Antichrist plans on uniting the world. You've heard about the New World Order. New World Order is a world without borders. It would be the end of independent nation and state. Multiculturalism, in other words, everybody's equal. And it doesn't sound bad. It doesn't sound like a bad place to live, right? Until you realize they're going to have all these things in control to control you, and you have lost all your freedom. Centralized socialistic government. Can you see our country going in that direction, by the way? I do. So here's the three things that, basically, these are the three things that encourage people to accept and adopt this New World Order plan. One of them is nuclear proliferation, especially when World War III happens, which is right around the corner, by the way. When it happens, people are going to say there's going to be partial nuclear fallout. Nuclear weapons will be used. There's going to be many, many people killed. And the countries are going to say, we can never allow this to happen again. That's one of the reasons. The other one is terrorism. How do we control terrorism? Well, we'll unite the whole world together against terrorism. I'm for that. I'm for getting rid of nuclear weapons. See how it sounds like a good idea? The last one, though, is the one that's interesting. A cosmic threat. What are we afraid of? You know, the whole thing about UFOs and Pleiadians and serpent-like creatures and that could all be a big old hoax. But what it's doing is getting people primed to accept that there could be a cosmic threat coming against the world. And when the nations of the earth say, when the President of the United States talks over your cell phone, did you know you can't shut them off? They've got something in your cell phone that the President of the United States can put in like 4 zeros or so, dial 4 zeros, and the message goes out to everybody. And when that happens, and he says, we have a cosmic threat, martial law is declared, and now we're united against this common enemy, and all the world unites together. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but it's out there, and the technology is already in place. This one's interesting. In Revelation chapter 16, verses 17 through 21, the seventh angel, how many plagues are there? 7, right? The seventh angel poured out his vial into the earth. There came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, "It is done." There were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake, so great. You see what it says? The earthquake is so great, it's never happened before. So terrible. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. The cities of the nations fell. In other words, all over the place, the cities are crumbling because of the earthquake. Great Babylon came in remembrance before God to give her cup of the wine of fierceness of his wrath. Every island fled away. The mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. There is an example of the hail, the size of a hail. Hail that weighs the size of the weight of a talent. Could you imagine getting hit with an ice cube that big? But it's not just one that's going to be coming all down upon these people at that time. Well, here's something interesting. It has to be that way. Because in Leviticus chapter 24, verse 16, the law requires that blasphemer should be stoned to death. And all the people living on the earth at that time who have blasphemed God, according to the word, they have to be stoned. And here comes these stones from heaven, and God will stone them all. Here the blasphemers of the end time shall be stoned from heaven. Okay, here's the coming cosmic deception, which is the biggest lie of them all. The biggest lie of them all. What is our challenge? We are being plunged into a period of time about which the Bible says more than about any other period in history, including the time when Jesus walked the shores of Galilee and climbed the mountains of Judea.